Hello and welcome back to our channel. We are hiding in the shed because it is raining.
So we're in the towards the end of June now, and we've had temperatures as high as 32 degrees. We've had some pretty strong winds that have knocked a few of our crops over.
And we've had lots of rain, but like over 2 days, on and off, rain stop, rain stop, rain stop.
We're absolutely desperate for rain, and luckily now it's filled our water butts up because the ground was starting to crack. It was that dry, so
yeah,
it's been very welcome. But we've also had issues now with the weeds sprouting up as well, so we've done a little bit on the water and the weed and what we do on our plots, obviously because every plot's different, and we just show you what we've got going on ours.
Yeah, we planted the dahlias in, we've done a slug watch.
We pulled the garlic, and June's often the time to pull your garlic and your gooseberries, so they're pretty much ready. So we show you our little stocks of that.
We earthed up our potatoes and showed you kind of where we'd put our potatoes and how they'd got on. And I think that might be it.
Yeah, we've just been quite a lot of watering and weeding this month.
Maintaining jobs.
Yeah, so we show you what we're doing around our plot and what we do in June, so stay tuned for that.
Yep, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel, then you'll get notified when we put a new video out, and it obviously helps us as well. And if you'd like to follow us on Instagram, we are at ukallotmenteers, and we love to see you there. So stay tuned, like and subscribe. Hello. You join us on the most exciting day of the year, number one, because it's finally weather for my sunflower jacket, my favourite item of clothing, and also it's Dahlia eviction day. So today we're going to take the bigger, older dahlias, which have got huge tubers that I didn't split in time, so they're big plants this year, but they will be split at the end of next year. And then we're going to prep the dahlia bed for all the new dahlias to go into. So we're just going to take a big white pom-pom, I've got a big pink pom-pom, and a cactus one from last year. So they're going to go for us. I'm not sure what that is. Are you okay? Cut. See you up there. So, some people, they like to put a label. Don't look too close because the tuber's exposed a little bit, and that's not how you're supposed to plant a dahlia, but it's fine. They like to put a label around the base of their dahlia with the name of the dahlia on, so you can keep track of it. What I've done is this year I made a list, a well-loved list, of all of the names of the dahlias that I bought, and next to them I wrote what they look like so that I could have an idea, and I've got an album on my phone with a picture of each one. So then what I've done is when I planted them in pots, I numbered the pot with a chalk pen. So this pot is number 13, which is Boom Boom Red, which is a red pom-pom dahlia. And what I've done is I've laid them out, and then I've drawn a rough map here. So this one is going to go here, so 13 is going to go in here. And then when I need to know the name of my dahlia, I can look back at my map and my list, because I like to share pictures of my dahlias on a Facebook group, a dahlia Facebook group that I'm in. And if you don't know the name of your dahlia when you put your picture on, you basically get lynched. So that's why I need to know my name, because I'm scared of the people in the Facebook group. And I feel like if I share a picture of it and people really like it, they might want to know what it is and buy it. So it's nice to be able to share the name so that people can get the same ones as you. And the ones that I had from last year that I'm not sure of, I'll put them up. I can look for what they look like online, and hopefully I can name them so that next year I'll have a more cohesive list with all of them on, because there's not quite all of the names here. So now I'm going to put them in the ground. Okay, so this bed we're turning into a no-dig bed. So what we've done is we've put cardboard down, we've had a compost delivery on top, but obviously I need to put the dahlias a little deeper. So what I've done is I just got a Stanley knife and I just cut across in the cardboard so I can fold it all back. Obviously there was some relentless bindweed in there, and then if your soil's not good, you can put a bit of bloodfish and bone at the bottom of your dahlia hole, I guess it's called. And then I'm going to ease her out very carefully. roots. Just give them a little squeeze. Put her in my hole. There we go. So before I fill this up, I'm going to dig it a little bit deeper. You just want to make sure. So I've accidentally left a little bit of the tuber hanging out here when I planted it. I think at the time I was going to split it and take a cutting from it, and then I decided against it. So you just want to make sure that you've covered all of your tuber, and then give it a really good water in. You can water your dahlias however you want. I know some people water them every day and other people just give them a really good soak once a week. So I guess just find what works for you. I shall probably water mine quite regularly, maybe every other time I come up here, which is about 3 times a week, probably get a water. So yeah, and don't feed them until you've got flowers. If you feed them when it's just foliage, you're going to end up with loads of green, not many flowers. So then when you've got flowers, you can feed them like a tomato feed, or I think I'm going to feed mine with comfrey because we've got a lot of it, however stinky it is, and I'll do that once a week. Just got another 15 or so to do. Okay. So a really important thing you need to do is you need to support your dahlias. Some people build frames around them or they put a post in, but I'm just starting with these really cheapy plant supports from the Home Bargains, I think they were. My mum got me 22, but I haven't got enough left for all the dahlias here because I planted about 6 dahlias at home. I've used them for that. But I'm going to put these in to start with, and if they're not secure enough when the plants get bigger, then I'll move on to something else. So make sure, it's going to be a bit tricky to get them around the cardboard, but yeah, just make sure that your dahlia gets some sort of support, especially where we are. It's quite windy up here. So I'm going to put that one down and then I'll move the rings up as the plant grows. So yeah, make sure you support your dahlias. It's like a bra for your flower. So to make a sad day even sadder, my number 13. Oh, my unnumbered one. Okay, so this is the Bishop of Canterbury dahlia. They're really popular dahlia. And so I've got the tuber out to plant it, and as you can see in here it looked like this. So this is called leafy gale or fascination gale, and basically it's a bacterial disease that my dahlia's got, and there's no cure. But because it's got really healthy shoots and it's been in a pot, it's not, luckily I've cleared out all the soil and I'm not actually going to plant anything here in case there's a bit of it in the ground. What it means is basically I'm going to take it home, keep it in the pot. I'm going to keep it out the front of our house because it's spread by water. So if you're watering one and then it trickled down into the next, then you can pass it on. So keep it out the front of the house. I'm going to enjoy the flowers from this year, and then next autumn, as soon as it dies, I'll put it in the black bin, not the green one because it's bacterial, and probably have a little cry. Oh well, you win some, you lose some. Okay, I'm just going to give you a really quick little tour around our show plot so you can kind of see what we're doing up at this plot, and we can talk you through some of the trials and tribulations of weeding. So this end plot here is going to be all our show veg, even though all the shows are cancelled this year, but that is our idea for how we're going to lay this plot out. So these bottom 2 metre squares are rented out to my mum for a fee of weeding per year, and she's got broad beans and onions in there. And then we've got like a wall of sunflowers here. We're not sure how they're going to go because it gets really windy up here, but we are having a sunflower competition, whose is going to grow the best. And then we've got our leeks down here that I know we showed you putting those in. But this plot, we weeded this plot about a week ago, and literally all the weeds out, and we've had some rain, and you can see the bindweed situation we've got going on. You can barely even see what is crops and what's bindweed. It's a bloody joke. And so we're trying to eradicate the bindweed with no dig. I think someone was telling us on Instagram that Charles Dowding, the no dig god or whatever, managed to do it in 3 years, and we're thinking it's going to take 30, but we are committed to our cause. So we've got some dwarf beans, and then we've got radishes, and I'm not sure if that's a squash or a pumpkin in the middle. We've got beetroot. That didn't really work last time, so we've got one beetroot, and then berries, we planted them there. We put all our seeds in, and then we had such dry weather. We ran out of water up here. There was just nothing, so things didn't really work too well. So we've kind of done a bit of a replant. Then these are our carrots, and we're trying some carrots in tubes so that we can get some really nice long straight ones for the show. And then there's our tomatoes, and very, very cleverly, look, put all our onions round our compost bin, and a slow one lives in there, so we don't like to look at him because he makes us feel horrible. So that's the dahlia bed there, and now we are at Mr. Cook here. I'll just come round and then you can tell us what you're doing over here.
This is our potato bed for this year. We're using the Sarpo range. Obviously this is one row. These seem to be growing a bit bigger, as you can see. So I'm just earthing them up. Usually you want to start earthing them up when they're about that size there. But I think because we've had a lot of rain, these have shot up in the last couple of days when we haven't been up. So we're just going to earth them up, and then you get more tubers, bigger tubers, growing up the stem. But it also supports the plant a bit better as well, because this site's quite windy, where it just whips up. So you just see, just going along and just literally just raking a nice soft soil, just up to make a mound on either side, so it's a triangle. And the soil's nice and crumbly at the minute because we've just had the rain, so it's nice and easy. But yeah, that's it. That's our potato bed. I've got a couple of squash growing on the end.
Yeah, just making use of the space.
So we're just going to grow these up the middle. Hopefully once they start growing up that way, we've already earthed them up as much as you can. Before I earthed it up, we made this. I think Frankie's just told you about the bindweed, but we've got a full bucket of bindweed out of this.
This one bed. Ugh. Anyway, continue the tour. This bed. So then here we've got our bath over there, raspberries that Perry put cardboard and wood chip down to kind of keep the weeds down, ha ha ha, and spring flower bed. Now we planted hundreds of bulbs in here and probably only half of them came through, but we've left them in the ground. Normally we would plant this up as a spring flower bed, however we like to get our plants from a car boot sale, and obviously during lockdown everything's more expensive, and we don't want to have loads of plastic in the house by buying loads and loads of plants. So this year it's kind of just going to be a bit of a rambling pumpkin patch, and I bought some spring bulbs in the sale, and rather than having them rot in the shed, I'm going to plant them into this bed this year in anticipation for them coming up next year. And at the back of this bed here, if you remember from our previous videos, is our garlic, and we're going to pull it up now. It's the first time we've ever grown garlic, so we will let you know how we get on.
So just ignore the weedy path that I've got behind us. At the top of our spring bulb bed we decided to try garlic for our first year. It looks like it's just rotting a bit in the ground, obviously ready to come out now where they've died back. So we're just going to pull them all up and then get them ready for storage. So let's see how it goes. Oh, that was nice and easy. Yeah, they're just starting to rot a little bit. The ground's nice and soft, so they're literally just pulling straight up. Oh, that's a bigger one. A little bit disappointing though, quite smallish. We'll have to figure out. But that should be enough for us too anyway, shouldn't it?
Yeah. We've got a lot of wild garlic that we've stored, so...
Yeah, so that's our year's garlic harvest. I can't remember what type it was. Give them a wash and then we'll store them up.
So just going to talk really quickly about some of the weeding that we have to do up here. So obviously there's different types of weeds, and you kind of want to make sure that you're getting the weed before it flowers, otherwise it's going to send more weeds out. And if you can get it from the root, then do. However, with something like bindweed, you will be pulling bindweed for the rest of your life, so it's just as easy to use a hoe. When we first got our allotment, everyone up here said to us, your best friend's a hoe. And they were right. When the weather is nice and hot, all you have to do is skim across the surface, breaking the weeds up, and then because it's hot, they'll dry really quickly on the top of the surface of the soil, and then you can get rid of them the next day or so. When they're dead, you don't have to worry about it. However, when the soil is wet and when it is this bad weather, it's harder to hoe them up because the soil moves a lot, and also if the soil's wet and the weeds are left there, they will regrow rather than dry. So when the weather's bad, it's best to just give them a yank up. It's also quite a good idea to loosen the soil, because then when the soil's loose, you're sure to get all of the roots out rather than the roots breaking. And so maybe adding in something that we would have liked to have done here if we could have got access to it, a lot of ground coverage that you're happy to keep there, kind of some flowers, some marigolds and things like that, and filling it as much as possible keeps the soil nice and loose so that when you do weed, you get as much of it out as possible. But we're going to show you our no dig bed that we'll hopefully one day won't ever have to weed. So this bed is a demonstration of how powerful bindweed is. As you can see, bindweed is the only weed that has come through on this bed. However, it's covered in cardboard and compost, and the cardboard is perfect. But what the bindweed has done is it is so able to detect the tiniest part of light that it has come through the corrugated cardboard in between the tiny little gaps in the cardboard, and some of the roots we've pulled out have been about this long and they're white and yellow where they're not getting any light. So we're hoping if we just keep pulling it out that in a few years time we won't have to pull it out anymore. So shall I pull one up now and we'll have a look? So I'm hoping I should just be able to, well, here we go. I don't want to break the cardboard, but I do want to get it out. And this root is solid. If I do it too much, it's going to pull up the cardboard, so we might have to come back to that. And like all along here, you can see this bindweed has come from under the path, so they've been able to seek out the tiniest bit of light. And interestingly, in our compost bin as well, which you'd think wouldn't, I'll show you what's happened in there with the bindweed. It's ever so fun.
Let's go. So in here you can see the bindweed, and then if you look right down here, we've got a slowworm. He just hides in this, we've just been leaving him, but there's quite a bit. You see the spider under there as well. Yeah, that is the craziness of the bindweed. And then this one is just madness. But then that's probably a good thing about having the beds in the section, the plot into sections. It just makes it a bit manageable. And every time we've been coming up, as you can see, like the squares, we've just been trying to weed one or two at a time, so it doesn't feel like daunting that you have to do the whole plot in one go. Weeds, weeds, weeds. So we've been really struggling with water up here because we haven't got any running water. So we've got like two things that we might have shown you I think before, but I just want to show you them in action. So the first one is when we water the tomatoes. So just to get that water direct onto the roots, we just pour that in there, just so we're not splashing it around everywhere. And then the courgettes, because these are quite thirsty plants, we've just been mulching it a little bit with rocks. Probably not going to work, but we also fill it with like a little Fanta bottle. And then just pop the tap on that. And there's just one hole in the bottom, so that should slowly feed it right down to the roots, because they're really thirsty plants. And obviously because we haven't got that much water, it's just two ways of watering it with your allotment and just conserving it and making sure that's going best to use, so that's not splashing around.
We do have a bath to collect rainwater, but yeah, so you have to keep a lid on to keep the sun off, and then obviously you've got a lid on so when it rains you don't get any water. So we bought this camping barrel at the car boot sale for £1, and we fill this up at home and bring it up to fill this plot up. So we haven't got a shed to catch any rainwater.
So I'm trying to take you around now and show you how our all-in-one bed's getting on, because it's doing pretty well. We've had that sunshine and a lot of rain. There's obviously raining now, but I'll just take you in there, have a look. So the runner beans are now starting to climb. Sweet corn's catching up with the sweet corn that we sowed back at home pretty far back. Just starting to see signs of all the turnips and that coming through. We've got our primo cabbages, and then we put some eggshells and just some wool to try and deter the slugs. 2 marigolds. Dwarf beans are flying through, so one of our cucumbers still there, but there's a reminiscence of the old one, so we'll have to try and get another cucumber in. Radish are absolutely flying up, and then the courgette. And is there any peas coming in? Some bindweed, and a couple of peas starting to pop up. So not bad really, it's only been in 4 weeks and there's a lot of life on that. And then just to show you on this as well, our apple tree that had loads on, we've got loads on the floor, but it's just a June drop. So it's just a natural thing where the apple tree sheds most of the apples. And then we've tried to start thinning them out so that there's 2, I've just seen one, there's 3. So on these, just take the smallest or the weakest one out and try and leave yourself with 2 on a spur. And then, oh, somebody's already eaten them.
I don't know who you're talking about.
So our gooseberries are ready now. Pigeons are being at them a bit.
Yeah, that's who's eating them, pigeons.
But we've pruned them and given them like loads of water this season. And we've got loads. 3 bushes.
Even more than last year, I think. Maybe we can make some award-winning jam again.
But yeah, that's it for our normal allotment. So just want to show you one other thing. So our strawberries are pretty much quite small. Would say average size. And we didn't really know what it was for, but I think we've kind of guessed what it is. We'll show you our strawberries down the house and the size difference. So we're presuming that it's the drought that we had and the lack of water means the strawberries have been plucked up. We'll show you the ones in a second just down the house because they are huge. So we're back at the house, and here are the strawberry plants that were from the same ground. But look at the size on them. So these were from the same patch, but we brought these down.
Destined for the bin.
And then we've got some huge ones in there. And those there as well. So if you've got some old plants that are like 3 to 4 year old, it might be worth bringing them down the house, putting them in the pot and giving them a second chance. Shall I whisper? We're on slug patrol. Shh. So we've come to the plot like late evening, and we're just going to check because we're getting quite a bit of slug damage in the brassica bed and on our peas, so I'm just going to have a little look. Oh, disappointing, there's none in there. So we've got loads of different defences for the slugs. Like you can see in this one we've got like a plastic bin with some copper tape around it, and then we've got like sand and shells which we're going to have to top up because we've been watering them, it's like moved away. You can see around here, there's better examples around here. So we built it up like a little fort, but then we've just been putting like planks in as well, so if you look in the middle of the bed, and then the slugs have been hiding under that. And we've also read that like grapefruit shells, so we brought a grapefruit up tonight. I'll take you down the peas. There might be some down the peas. So this row peas here has been getting probably eaten more by the slugs than the other 3 rows. So we've just put a scaffolding board down there. see if we can try and catch them. Oh yeah, look, down here. You see all them?
Ugh.
So we're just going to pop them in a pot and then discard them further down in the field, down the back, and squidgy ones.
There's some fat ones.
Yeah, because they've been eating the peas. So yeah, this is probably the best method if you want to do it organically, because we don't want to use slug pellets because they're not good for the hedgehogs and the birds. And yeah, we've got in half grapefruit. We're going to try that method as well. Well, that seems to have worked pretty well, just a piece of damp wood.
Get away from our peas.
Slug patrol was a success.
Okay, so that is our video for the month. Perry is just getting the last of the gooseberries. If him and the pigeons stopped eating them, we would have more. But here's a little look at how many we have harvested. So we've got quite a few. Probably weighs more than a newborn baby, but you know. And we are going to go home and get on with cooking them. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Find us on Instagram at ukallotmenteers. And yeah, good to see you, and we will see you in July. Bye.